And we say, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you live on a Friday night. I understand Pigskin Pete is also live. I really didn't think much about it when I made the stream, too. Um, but it's good to see some of y'all in here. It's good to see AIP Dog, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo, what's up, man? The godfather of the SEC, our boy, Waylon. Let's go, Chris. Yeah, man, let's go. As Tom Brady would say. Do I still have that on here? Let me check. As Tom Brady says. Let's go. Let's go.
How about that? Check to local initiative.
Yeah, how about that? How about that? Again, I understand Pigskin Pete is live. Didn't think much about it when I scheduled the stream yesterday. But this is what we do. We go live Friday nights around 8, 9, 10 o'clock, however it works out. If you want to go watch Pigskin Pete, fully up to you. I get it, but we're going to be here and we're going to open the show up. We will drop the link here in a second. But when you come on, I want to kind of do some things differently. I do want to talk realignment. It wasn't today, K Dog. I actually got Mexican food yesterday, believe it or not. I know you're asking because it is Cinco de Mayo. Um, shout out to everybody out there having a fiesta party, however you want to call it. Be careful, be safe. Don't do anything stupid, of course. No, I didn't get Mexican food today. I got it yesterday, though, on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you all. But it's good to see you guys in the chat. AIP Dog, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, the godfather of the SEC, Waylon, and K Dog. And again, Pigskin Pete is live. Go show him some love. Hit the thumbs up. Watch him over me. I don't care. He's amazing and fantastic, as he says. So let's do this layout here. Let's scroll up. We will try to reschedule our South Carolina preview with Twisted Rooster. We'll try to get it maybe next week. And I'll go ahead. Speaking of, we'll drop the StreamYard link. We'll probably only be on here an hour because I think other people go live tonight too. We'll see. But go ahead and drop the StreamYard link. When you come on, we can talk about whatever you want, but want to discuss realignment. But then we also want to discuss this. In fact, give me a few minutes to kind of talk about this on my own because I'll clip this and upload it later. But Florida State or Clemson for the ACC in 2023. It's an interesting topic of conversation when you look into it because Clemson has figured out their quarterback situation, and that defense looked phenomenal in the spring game. But you have the recent success of Jordan Travis and company at Florida State, and we just did a preview on them. I like Florida State for the ACC this year. Now, the ACC is taking away divisions for 2023 in the near future. So, are these the two teams to meet up in the ACC title game, possibly? I think so. We had Clemson and North Carolina last year. I do think North Carolina lost a piece or two to the draft. Doesn't necessarily mean that they take a step back, but I think Florida State, especially taking big steps forward, and we'll find out a lot about Florida State. Not that it's a defining game week one, but they do play the LSU Tigers, who a lot of people assume could challenge Alabama for the SEC West. You look at their 2023 schedule outside of the ACC, it sets up pretty nicely in the non-conference. You got LSU in Orlando, Florida on September 3rd. You have a Southern Miss game. You have North Alabama, and you have at Florida. So, and each of those, I think Florida State wins 3 out of the 4, probably goes 4-0 in the non-con. But you look at their schedule, they got to play Clemson. They got to play Clemson September 23rd on the road. Now, here's the thing. They have a trap game with Boston College on September 16th on the road in Chestnut Hill. If they overlook Boston College for Clemson, they could lose that Boston College game, and it'll be a major disappointment because then you got to bounce back. And I don't know if Florida State can lose a game like Boston College and bounce back against Clemson. If the Clemson game for Florida State, if it were in Tallahassee, that's different. Maybe I'd give Florida State the edge, but I like Clemson this year. I like Clemson to make it back to the college football playoffs possibly this year. Dabo Swinney, we've talked about it with Waylon and others, and just talked about Dabo Swinney quite a bit on here about how good of a coach he is, how great of a recruiter, great human being overall. Just love his faith, his character, who he is as a person. I admire all that. Hey, you don't think he's going to have Clemson motivated this season to push back to the college football playoff? I think so. Games that Florida State should win. We talked about it in the preview video this week. Virginia Tech, Syracuse, and Duke. Be careful of the road games with Wake Forest and Pitt. Back-to-back road games. They should beat North Alabama. They should beat Miami. And they probably even should beat Florida, depending on how Florida and Billy Napier turn it around this year, if they turn it around. But it makes it interesting, taking away the divisions for 2023, that these two teams possibly could actually meet up in the ACC championship. And I'll say this too. I say they're taking away the divisions. I'm fixing to pull it up and actually double check because I'm pretty sure that they are for the ACC taking a division this year. And if that's the case, bravo, well done. Because I look at divisions in college football and I don't have a full-on problem with it, but I really prefer not having divisions because then you can really peg the two best teams from the conference and the conference championship game, no problem. So, and I do think going into it, I think the 3 teams you got to watch out for are Clemson, Florida State, and North Carolina, probably even in that order. And you might wonder, why is Florida State getting all this hype? Well, they had a 10-3 season with a bowl win over Oklahoma last year. Now, Oklahoma was Oklahoma. They did what they did. But when you look at the ACC, Florida State finished 5-3. They finished in the rankings ahead of Clemson at 11, Clemson at 13. They finished 10-3 in the regular season, or 9-3 in the regular season. Count a bowl win. They won their last 6 games. They only gave up 268 points, which is actually less than points allowed, what Clemson allowed total last year. And they scored more than Clemson. The only thing that Florida State did not do was win the division because they did lose a game to Clemson, and Clemson was undefeated in the ACC. So outside of that, I think if Florida State returning what they return, and I think with Clemson, they lost some guys to the draft. Be honest. They've lost their quarterback to the portal in DJ Uiagalelei. He's at Oregon State now. I think Cade Klubnik's better anyway. So yes. Sorry, some headline caught my eye. We'll talk about that tonight. But Florida State, Clemson in the Atlantic Division. Last year it was Clemson's to lose going into the season, and I really think Florida State was more so a shocker type of team. I think they came out of nowhere. We expected them with Mike Norvell to get it together and turn some things around after, I think, what did they go in 2021? 8-4. It's not too bad. But to go from 7 or 8 wins to 10 wins within a year span, only so many teams can say that they can do that stuff. So I think it was huge for Florida State. My pick right now is, and it's so hard, man. It is so hard because I like Clemson this year to possibly get back to the playoff. But there's a part of me that doesn't want to pick against Florida State. It's too early to tell. It's too early to make a decision on who's going to win the conference, who's going to, come out on top. But those are definitely the two headlining teams of the ACC in 2023. And I expect a couple different teams to step up and improve. You got North Carolina, probably Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech. Shout out to Sea-Dog. I don't know what they're going to do. Miami, they're a big question mark. These are teams that we'll cover, by the way, for conference week, and we'll get previews out very soon. That being said, it's the first year of realignment. We'll talk about that probably at the end of the show because I do want to get you guys on. But Florida State or Clemson in the ACC, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a challenge for both teams. I think we shouldn't be surprised whoever comes out on top at the end of this season. But for right now, my guts, I bite my tongue. I bite my tongue so hard on this one because it's not that I'm doubting Clemson, but I am in love with what Mike Norvell is doing at Florida State down in Tallahassee. The recruiting is off the charts. They've hit the portal. They bring back their coaching staff. They do all of that. Jordan Travis. Just so much talent on Florida State this year. They finished second in the ACC Atlantic Division, and the tone setter for them is right out the gate because this team won the SEC West last year over Alabama. LSU, they got to beat them, set the tone for the season if you're Florida State. Right out the gate, week 1 on September 3rd. It's going to be awesome. Sunday night game, and I'm excited for it. But want to hear from you guys. I'll drop the link, and we'll get you guys on. Flaming Sports Media. Let's see who all's in here. Flaming Sports Media, my man. Cody Hankins. What's up, Cody? What's up, LW? Godfather of the SEC, Wayland. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. K-Dog. AIP Dog. And it looks like that's it for now. But again, we dropped the StreamYard link. Anyone wants to come in here, let's debate Florida State or Clemson. And then if you want to talk realignment, that's fine too. It begins this year with 4 teams moving to the Big 12. You have Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, and UCF. I didn't have Arby's, man. What did we have? Is it chicken? I think it was chicken. Yeah, chicken and barbecue sauce and stuff like that. So some rice with it. It was good. 32 subs for 1K. Yeah, let's keep it going, man. Share it out. I'll keep putting out content. You guys do the work and share this stuff, and we'll hit 1K in no time. For sure, man. Let's share while we're waiting on people to get on. Let's talk about college football top 25 power rankings, spring edition, post spring. Georgia comes in number 1. No surprise to me. 15-0, back-to-back champions. But that's not what's got them at number 1. What's got them at number 1 is how they looked in their spring game, their returning production. So Mike Bobo takes over play calling. Carson Beck has the edge over Brock Vandergriff. And they have Dominic Lovett, Dylan Bell, Arian Smith, Brock Bowers at wide receiver and tight end. Michigan at number 2. Is this the year for the Wolverines to possibly win a national title, let alone win a playoff game? I think if Michigan, they need to focus on getting to the college football playoff, but they got to focus on winning a playoff game because they got to get over that hump. 0-2 the past 2 seasons, have not won a playoff game. That's sad. Florida State, we just talked about them. Jordan Travis is a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. That's at least what Florida State believes. Coach Mike Norvell added a couple of key pieces to give them more options this season. Jaheim Bell from South Carolina and Cal Morlock, Division II shorter. Big upgrades at tight end. Receiver Kentron Poitier seems ready to break out, and freshman Vandravius Jacobs is another building star on the perimeter. Braden Fisk, a Western Michigan transfer edge rusher. Patrick Payton performed well in the spring game, which should be a big defensive line that already includes star pass rusher Jared Verse, who could be, by the way, a first-round pick. USC at number 4. I love that. Imagine if these rankings, these power rankings, were your Final Four playoff teams. A playoff team in that? Yeah. Georgia number 1, Michigan 2, Florida State 3, and USC 4. Could you imagine these powerhouses in college football in the college football playoff? You have Georgia play USC and Michigan play Florida State. Wouldn't that be awesome? I'd love it. Ohio State number 5, Alabama number 6. Now, I do not blame them for this. Alabama has their own issues, especially at quarterback. I think the defense is going to be amazing with Kevin Steele. Caleb Downs, the number 1 safety, might crack the starting lineup in a very talented secondary. Dallas Turner did not play in the spring game. But Chris Braswell and company, guys out there, Kendrick Blackshear. I could go down the list for Alabama guys on the defense. It looked great. Justice Haynes, his father, Vernon, or Veron played at Georgia. They say Justice Haynes looks ready to contribute. I didn't even know his dad played at Georgia. That's amazing. I guess that's probably why he considered Georgia. Why he chose Alabama, I guess he just wants to be part of the best. We'll see. But, oh, we got someone in the back room. Let's go ahead and bring him on. What's up, Waylon?
Man, I'm used to being in the back room. What's going on, Chris?
Man, it's good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good to be on here tonight. We got Alabama at number 6. That's right where I want them to be at.
Yep. Just underrate us a little bit, but not much to where they're not giving us a chance.
Yep. Yeah, well, these I don't know, these power rankings, everybody can do their own power rankings. We don't know what these teams are going to do till they start playing in September, and after the first couple of 2 or 3 games, we'll probably see who's going to be in the top 5 or 6. It won't take long to sort it out.
Clemson comes in at 9. That's another thing, kind of what I wanted to talk about too. We talked about Florida State and Clemson. I don't know, man. Clemson, Dabo's nowhere near a hot seat, but you got to think he's got to get back to the playoffs at some point.
Yeah, we talked about that, I think, last Sunday night.
That's right.
Yeah, he's got to get back in the playoffs somehow. I mean, I think he'll win the ACC. I don't know. Florida State's going to be tough. I don't know. I think Dabo will probably pull it out like he always does, but we'll see if he gets back in the playoffs. I don't know. They got a few issues, I think, at quarterback too. Really, Ty Buckner at Alabama, and then you got Paul Tyson at Clemson. I don't think Paul Tyson's going to start at Clemson. What's that quarterback ahead of him at Clemson? I can't think of his name. What is it?
Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, Klubnik. That's it. So,
Yeah.
well, I guess I would say he's probably going to be the starter more than likely, unless something happens during somebody gets hurt or something. I figure he'll start more than likely.
Yeah. Hey, Cody.
But I don't know. We'll see about the ACC, and we'll see if Clemson can make it back. We'll see if Alabama can get back in, make it an old-fashioned 4 slug out like it used to be. Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and who would be the other team you'd have in the top 4? Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. Who would be the other? Who would be the other team?
I gotta go with the Big Ten, and it's probably Michigan or Penn State, depending on who wins between the two of them.
Yeah, you could probably put one of those in. Could they beat one of those other 3 teams? I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to see Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, and I don't know. I think Harbaugh. I think Michigan might sneak back in again. I don't know. They talking a lot about Penn State, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll throw Michigan in there on my. I'll say.
Thing about Ohio State, I mean, they looked okay this spring, but you got to think losing your top receivers and losing your quarterback to the draft. I mean, that's obvious that they take a step back. And I think in terms of a step back for Ohio State, they made the playoffs, got that number 4 seed. If they take a step back, you'll probably see them in the final poll. And I know it's too early to tell, but they might be on the outside looking in to the college football playoff. They probably just will barely miss it this season. I don't think they take major steps back, but they got a lot of production that they have to replace.
Well, if you look at it like they're going to be next year, 12 teams, that TCU Georgia game would have been I think it would have been, if I'm thinking right, if you line it up with next year's schedule, the 12 teams, that would have been a semi-playoff game. So really, TCU wouldn't have really belonged. So they'd have got out. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think that's sort of how it would have lined up.
You could be right about that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I done a little just adding up in my head. Like I said, I might be wrong, but TCU wouldn't have made it in the lineup next year. They wouldn't have made it playing Alabama or Georgia in a semi game. I just don't think they wouldn't have made it. Just like they didn't make it last year. I'm not saying it was a high school. They look like a high school football team, but I don't know how else you look like a Division II maybe football team like UNA, but they just didn't have. I believe Alabama could have beat TCU. They might not have beat them as bad as Georgia did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I just think Alabama could have beat them too.
I think there's a couple teams that Alabama – well, we were at number 5. I think outside of Georgia, I think we could have hung in there with Ohio State. I think we could have hung in with Michigan, could have hung in with TCU. Georgia – I think Alabama had a lot of anger after losing to Georgia in 2021. They probably had some frustration to take out on Kirby Smart.
Yeah, well.
All right. This is great. We got –
Go ahead.
What's up, guys?
I was saying we got a good panel now. We got Ugga Boy, Dominic, Cody, and Waylon. This is great.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Just watching my Nationals playing the D-backs, tied at 1 in the 4th.
Nice. I love some baseball action, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that TCU, the way they played last year in the regular season, they were definitely deserving. I think a lot of us can agree with that. But that national championship game, man, was a beatdown. I don't know. I mean, I think Alabama or anybody could have beat TCU the way they played. Then again, I don't think, as a Georgia fan, I think we're good, but I don't think we're that good. I mean, I think we played probably arguably one of our best up there with Oregon, the way we played last year. But I don't think that TCU was that bad. But I don't think that team is not that bad. They're not that terrible, if that makes sense.
Right. I think they just got caught up in the moment, and I think Georgia just proved that they wanted it more against TCU.
And so I was thinking of how bad possibility the way TCU played. I'm thinking of what could have been, not making excuses for them, but what could have been the issue. So you think about it, you look back at that TCU Michigan game, everybody, said that TCU and ultimately was going to lose the game. So TCU played with an edge or whatever, and after they beat Michigan, whoa, wow. I mean, maybe TCU could, beat Georgia, and then everybody had kind of Georgia losing, especially after, the Georgia-Ohio State game. I mean, think about it. I mean, TCU, did the win over Michigan get over their head? I mean, could that have been the issue?
I mean, it could have been one of those where they beat this inferior, superior team and they got caught up in it. And, I mean, you can't say this. What I don't want to hear is, well, we didn't have enough time to practice for Georgia. You had 10 days, so they had the time to practice. I wonder if they got caught up in being in the moment on the big stage and it caught up with them and they shut down completely after that first quarter.
Right. Now, I mean, I believe Alabama could have probably laid easily 35, 40 on them. I mean, the way that game went, I think if Alabama was Georgia, I think the game easily could have, and maybe more. Because, let's face it, when Georgia got up to about, I don't know, let's just say 38, I mean, TCU looked like they weren't even trying. They were gassed, right? They couldn't even stop our fourth, fifth string running back. I mean, they ran a touchdown or two on them. It was pretty bad. So, I don't know. Alabama could have.
Yeah.
I think TCU.
We talk about it.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Year.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
To say that we talk about it every single year about getting the 4 best teams in there, but I mean, how do we really define who the 4 best teams are? I mean,
yeah.
Is it based on record? Is it based on? Yeah.
See, that's the thing. If you would have based it off of records, TCU was the team, right? TCU was the team, regardless of them losing that last game. It wouldn't have mattered. If we're basing it on, I mean, I don't want to say TCU didn't deserve to be there. You know, I mean, they did. They had a heck of a year. They had an unbelievable comeback against a couple of teams. You know, the problem is like Alabama was very deserving, you know, at the end of the year, you know?
And it's funny because I was watching yesterday high of the game, just how close we were to winning that game. I mean, because of a 2-point conversion by LSU, our defense couldn't stop them there, and that got us knocked out of the playoffs. I guarantee you, I don't care how many losses they had. Alabama could have competed with TCU, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia. I know there's 4 teams in there, and I probably should have only named 3, but you set them up against Alabama, man. I guarantee you we could have been motivated enough to have a fair shot at a championship.
I agree with you, man. I really do, because you got to think about it. Think about the much time Saban will be all over their tails, discipline, whatever you want to call it. The issues would be like non-existing. It'd be amazing. Like you see it for 11, 12 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like poof. You know, it's like just a puff of wind would come, and it's like all the problems just go away. I agree with you. And, you know, of course, we all know if anybody's got plenty of time to do anything, which is before the season, so you don't want to play Bama on week 1, and you daggum sure don't want to give them plenty of time at the end of the year. Not saying that Alabama isn't good in the middle of the season, but you just don't want to give Nick Saban and Alabama that plenty of time, because they're going to give you the best of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but I guarantee you this. One thing we can say, that this year or next year, I don't think the committee will trust TCU. If it came down to it, I think they would if it came down to the way it was last year, I think they would put somebody in Alabama's position over TCU if they had to redo it again. Because that was the worst national championship game ever in college football.
I turned it off after. Well, no, I didn't, because I love to watch football, period. So I kept watching it, but just know that I was scrolling on my phone and stuff. I was live on here for the game, and I just sat there on my phone most of the game. I mean, it was that bad.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty dismal. You know, and the thing is, the people that are against it, like, oh, TCU or Southern Miss and all these other schools, they shouldn't belong. Well, TCU definitely gave them a good case to argue that, because, I mean, it was very, very clear that TCU had nowhere. They shouldn't have belonged on that football field.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, we're going to see what Sonny Dykes can do with the leftover Gary Patterson football players, because he's got another new offensive coordinator he's about to replace. Everybody thinks they're trash. I hate to say that. And I hate to say it, but Sonny Dykes, hey, we're going to find out if he's a good coach or not. I guarantee you they won't win 7-8 games next year. I'm going to say it. I'm going to put it out there. I don't think they'll win 8 games.
I might have been high. Let me go back and look at what I predicted them to go, because I did do a team preview for them already. I think I had them somewhere above 500, maybe 7-5, 8-4. I said they'll take some steps back. I don't think they'll be the worst of the worst, but you know, I'll pull it up and let you know. I could be off. It was like probably the 5th team I previewed, but let me see.
I mean, I like TCU, you know, as a college football fan. I mean, I hate it, you know, that it took them forever to be back there, you know, the national championship game. But, hey, you got to do better than that.
9-3 is what I had them going. I had them going 9-3.
Who's their quarterback?
I don't know. Max Duggan is drafted,
Gone.
so it's
Yeah,
not
I
him.
mean, the guy never played. The dude's literally never played.
They had a quarterback before Max Duggan last year. Did he transfer out?
I'm not sure. I mean, they better hope they got somebody with experience. I mean, I wouldn't want to be like Notre Dame on the third string quarterback who haven't played a college collegiate snap. You know, after that debacle they had in the national championship game, I mean, if you're TCU, I wouldn't want that.
I know who it is. Chandler Morris is last year he was a freshman and he had 145 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, okay. So he's played.
I mean, I'm sure he's not too bad. Like I don't think like I said, TCU's not going to be the overall dumpster fire type of team next year, but they're not going to be this 10-win, woke up again type of. It'll be somewhere in the middle, probably 7-5, 8-4, maybe
Well,
9-3 if they're lucky. But
I don't know much about this. You said Chandler Morris is his name. I don't know much about him, but I can tell you this: if they're going to come back in most of their games like they did last year, this kid's going to have to be a better or about the same as Max Duggan, because I'm not really too sure if the way they pulled some games out last year, if they're going to be good enough.
yeah, I agree.
But their conference is very weak, so I mean, we'll see. Never know. We could be sitting here.
I was just gonna say that I like Texas anyway out of the Big 12 this year, but
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I'm just curious to see what Oklahoma's going to do this year. I really hope like Oklahoma's a lot better than the way they were this year compared to last year. Only because knowing that if Oklahoma and Texas is not good enough to win their conference, let's just to say that hypothetically speaking, even going into this year, I'm not sure if I want another Missouri, Texas A&M coming to the SEC. So that would be slight disappointing to me.
yeah, I don't think Oklahoma's your bet for the Big 12 this year. I think it's going to be between Kansas State, who I like, or Texas. I think between those two teams, that's your winner.
Yeah, Kansas State, that's a good pick as well, because that backup quarterback, I don't know if he's going to be the starter or not this year, but I remember their first string quarterback went out, and man, he did give, speaking of TCU, a run for their money. That had a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, so they had, remember Adrian Martinez, who used to be with Nebraska. He's been in college football forever, it seems like. But Will Howard, even against Alabama, I think we gave him 20 points. The offense for Kansas State against Alabama, even though it couldn't keep up, it had its moments. And you have guys like Phillip Brooks and Cade Warner. And I think they do lose Deuce Vaughn, who's their running back. But they should bring back a majority of their offense and then bring back some guys on defense too.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take either Texas or Kansas State if I'm pulling for the Big 12 and looking for a winner.
Yeah, that's good. That's some good picks. What do you guys think?
Cody, Waylon, Dominic, y'all want to weigh in or?
Who we talking about? Texas?
Well, just the Big 12 in general this season.
Well, Texas is the second game of the year for Alabama, and it's a non-conference game. It does matter whether they lose or win, but it doesn't matter in their conference. So if Alabama takes them to the woodshed at Bryant-Denny Stadium, I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens after that. I mean, they probably could win it, I guess. They got a lot of talent on that team. If they can get that team together and they can all play in one game, I don't know. We'll see. They got quite a bit of talent.
Yeah, I forgot about Alabama playing Texas. That would be a good game. That's in Alabama.
Yeah, it's a home and home. We played them last year and won by a point, but
Man,
I don't know.
You know what I'm rubbed by, Ballard? I'm just rubbed by this daggum new rule, running clock. I don't know why, man, but I'm just bothered by it so bad. I know that I think it happens in the NFL, but to me, it's kind of like took a lot out of the air for me as a college football fan. Now, I'll always be a fan, but I don't know. What do y'all think about it?
Are you talking about where it runs after the down?
Yeah, it ain't going to stop on first down no more.
You'll never miss it. They've made changes in the past. People have forgotten the changes they've made. I could address them. You never miss them. You hadn't missed them up to now, so you'll never miss this. It won't be no different.
I hope not. Maybe I'm just over-exaggerating it. Dominant. Cody, what's up? I think did they fall asleep?
I don't know.
So what do y'all think that's going to happen in the SEC? I mean, obviously, you're thinking Alabama, maybe Georgia. We'll see what we got. But, I mean, what do y'all think is going to happen?
What I hope happens is Alabama wins the SEC, goes all the way with the title. But what I think is going to happen, if Alabama doesn't get their quarterback situated, LSU is going to win the West again. As far as the East, I think Georgia's going to have it figured out. But I will say be careful of Tennessee. Even though I know they lost Hendon Hooker, but, Tennessee still has some pieces.
Well, they lost a lot, but I still think that, I don't – losing a lot kind of an understatement over the last 3 years or whatever they've endured, right, up there in Knoxville. But, it's hard to believe that Spencer Rattler will be the most experienced quarterback really in the league. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, it's really hard to believe. But, I think that, yeah, I agree with you. Joe Milton is not a bad quarterback for Tennessee. And, I think Georgia's schedule is about the same. I think it's the same thing. But then to me, I think it's going to be interesting to see. Georgia, I wouldn't say it's going to lay all on Carson Beck because I'm pretty sure he'll be the starter.
Right.
I mean, my God, if he doesn't, we're going to be like, we're not going to win the East. I can tell you that if he ain't the starter. But I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we're going to do the same thing or whatever. But I think it's all up to Carson Beck. I mean, because you got to think about it. He's going to go to the loudest stadium in Neyland Stadium. I mean, Tennessee's, especially if that's a night game, which, they're going to make that a big deal, especially, if we're up there like we were last year and Tennessee is as well. So it all depends, if Tennessee beats y'all again, which I don't think it will. But if that happens, let's just say that happens again, of course they're going to make a big deal about it. But I think we're good enough to go to the SEC championship. Hands down, we'll beat the heck out of LSU if that Daniels is the quarterback. Now, if you put that Musburger guy in, hands down, we will not beat LSU. I mean, it's been proven. I mean, we couldn't stop him last year as a freshman, and we're not planning on stopping him, I don't think, anytime soon. I mean, the guy was that good against us. And so, but yeah, if they put that Daniels guy in, which I believe he came back for LSU,
he did.
It's almost to me, it's almost a joke to say that they're going to win the SEC.
He's a gun.
He's not that great. I mean, in my opinion, he's not.
He's a gunslinger. I mean, he proved that in the SEC championship game. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking about their backup, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped right up in there and didn't miss a beat. And
If he's the starter, but that's the thing. I don't think he's going to be.
probably not. Probably not.
Which almost makes me want to know why he even stayed at LSU. But I guess he'll have 3 years left. Well, 2 years. I just don't see him winning the job over, what's his name? The Daniels kid? You know what I'm talking about?
At LSU,
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not bad. He's not bad, but he can't go against. I mean, because let's be honest with ourselves, and I'm not saying it because y'all are Alabama fans. It was almost a joke the way they beat y'all. Y'all should have beat them, like.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's not good enough to beat Alabama and Georgia. If Alabama, which y'all played them this year, like y'all do every year, he's not going to beat y'all. I'm telling you.
Well, here's the thing about Alabama. And last year was kind of a revenge tour, but it didn't really work out. I mean, I guess we got revenge on A&M. We didn't get a chance to play Georgia, but this year for certain, for Nick Saban, he won't admit this, but he's got to have revenge on his mind for LSU. I think for Tennessee as well. He wants to beat those teams again. He wants to get back on top. He wants to show that Alabama is still dominant in the SEC West, in the SEC, and ultimately in college football. Can he do it? I think so, but I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. I don't know if Tyler Buckner, Jalen Milroe. Here's the thing about Ty Simpson. I just don't think he's ready yet, at least from what I've seen in the spring. But, the quarterback situation is what's going to set the tone for Alabama.
Yeah, I think that Tyler guy is going to be your quarterback. Otherwise, I don't see why he would have transferred. But especially his old offensive coordinator, is at Bama now, Tommy Reese. So I don't think he's bad. I've even heard, believe it or not, I do know a Notre Dame fan that's not here on YouTube. And they are telling me, or at least this, I don't know how intelligent this guy is, but needless to say, he was telling me, oh, man, this guy stinks. I think it might have been because, he transferred. I'm like, dude, he wasn't the guy that lost to Marshall at the beginning of the year. If it wasn't for him, y'all wouldn't even be going bowling, or better yet, winning your bowl game. So, to me, I think he's going to be the quarterback for Alabama, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if Alabama was, like you said, basically was going on a revenge tour.
Now, if Tyler Buckner wins the job, I'm not going to go crazy or anything. I'm not going to be mad. I trust Nick Saban to make whatever move he feels is best for the team. But I will say this, it will send Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson packing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Buckner was 2019. He didn't play the 2020 season, the COVID season. He had 4,098 yards passing in high school with 81 touchdowns, 56 throwing touchdowns, and 28, 20, I can't remember, 20. It all added up to 81 touchdowns, 26 rushing touchdowns. I mean, that's unreal in high school. That's unreal. Yeah.
So,
you just got to be able to take what you did in high school. You got to contribute that to college.
So was he there at Notre Dame when they call it COVID? Because the reason why I'm asking is to answer Ballard's question. Would that mean he would be a year of eligibility? Wouldn't he?
He's got like 3 years of eligibility at Alabama.
Yeah.
You're talking about Buckner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw where he had like three years.
Yeah.
Well, then, if he wins the job, what you said will be right. Y'all definitely have some transfer quarterbacks, but heck, that's going to be anywhere. I mean, it's going to happen at Georgia. I mean, suspecting that Carson Bates going to be the starter. So, I mean, you're going to have that no matter what. And then you'll have a guy, that comes out of nowhere and he'll win the job for, say, 5-6 years from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
What happens if one of these guys get hurt? Alabama has to think about that. Georgia, do y'all really have y'all are sort of like us. Do y'all really have a second string quarterback step in and play, really?
Well, we better hope over these cupcakes, because what I saw at G-Day game was, if it wasn't for Carson Beck, we'd be lucky if we win 5 games. I'm serious. That quarterback situation was bad at Georgia. I mean, it was. We talk about,
especially surprisingly for Vandergriff, he didn't look too hot.
No, he's not. He doesn't. He looks like he's this. I'm not saying he didn't get any better, but I mean, he's definitely he's nowhere near what we thought. I actually kind of thought that Gunnar Stockton probably looked a little better, in my opinion. But yeah, to answer your question, we do not, and I'm actually kind of worried if we don't get that thing going. And if, like you said, if Carson Beck goes down, I mean, do we have a quarterback? In my eyes, I don't think we do.
Yeah, that's exactly the reason I think Nick Saban went after Tyler Buchner, because Alabama don't either. And he's putting the pressure on them to find out who can step up and be that second string quarterback. And if you can beat Buchner out like y'all got Carson Beck, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think Georgia Alabama really has a quarterback who can step up. I mean, both of them's got a lot of talent, but I mean, we just have, maybe nobody gets hurt. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We want to get the best out of everybody. So maybe nothing like that happens. So we ain't got to worry about it.
Thing about it's crazy to see that Georgia and Alabama have these quarterback issues, whereas our divisional rivals in Tennessee and LSU have it figured out. How crazy would it be if Georgia and Alabama can't get it together this year? Hypothetically speaking, I think we will, but how funny would it be if the SEC title was somehow Tennessee, LSU, and we're sitting there without quarterbacks?
LSU's done. LSU beat Alabama with one little old play, two little old plays, and now Brian Kelly's up. It's really sad if you think about it. Brian Kelly came to LSU. He can keep his job by beating one team every year, and that's Alabama, by beating Alabama or Georgia. That secures his job every year. It's sort of like the Auburn job. I had people play football at Auburn and Alabama, and went on to professional football. Both of them did. And I mean, Auburn, your boosters, your fan base, all they think about is the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. I know those guys down there. That's all they sleep and breathe is the Iron Bowl. And that's sort of sad to the football team and the fan base. Well, the fan base sleeps it and breathes it too. I mean, but that's not the only game on the damn schedule. Come on. It's not the only game.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Kelly, I mean, I don't know about Brian Kelly. I mean, he's 274 wins, all-time wins with 100 losses. And I think one tie, 273, 101 to Nick Saban's 274, 67-2. So they got a close record as far as their record goes, but Nick's got 7 national championships for Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby Smart and Georgia fans, they are totally different than what I said a while ago. I mean, yeah, we do got 2 5-star quarterbacks behind, but the progression, I just didn't see it. I mean, I think and Beck's going to be there for 2 years. So, yeah, I believe we're definitely going to have a transfer going out. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, for my sake, we don't have to look at that. But I just don't understand, why we didn't go after another quarterback, to be honest with you.
Well,
especially after G-Day.
It's sort of like Jimbo at Texas A&M. What kept his job a couple of years ago? He beat Alabama.
Yeah.
What has he done at Texas A&M? But I mean, they got the money to pay him. That money's nothing to them. That's nothing.
But if you think about it, Jimbo hasn't done nothing since 2013 winning the national championship.
Exactly.
I mean, it's almost a joke that he has a job. I mean, I'll be honest with you. He's performing. I don't know if he's maybe a little up there, but he's performing about the same as Kevin Sumlin when he was at Texas A&M.
Oh yeah, they're look at the schedules and look at the wins. They're neck and neck.
Yeah. And then Sumlin went to Arizona, and he got fired, after year one or so? Who knows? And half of the people probably don't care, but, he's non-existent. So, I mean, it's a shame. And Brian Kelly, the dude can win, but he chokes in big games.
Yeah, look at what he done last year. He had 4 losses. I mean, Georgia beat the brakes off of him in the SEC championship game, and they squeaked by Alabama. I'd say, well, that was his first year. I mean, he got one big win. That was it.
But the first game he choked it away on Labor Day night, to FSU. And I will say FSU had sprinkles I thought of improving, but Mike Novell will tell you they played not that great that game, and somehow they squeaked it out. But again, LSU lost is my point, and that's what Brian Kelly does. He chokes. I'm not saying the game wasn't big, so maybe he doesn't choke at all of them, but I mean, geez, he blows a lot of them.
I don't know. Hugh Freeze, that scares me about Freeze at Auburn. If Freeze can pull off Auburn, let's see, Georgia, y'all got to play at Auburn. Y'all got to play at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah, Alabama. I mean, Hugh Freeze can do what he wants to do. Auburn's going to be scary.
Well, yeah. Alabama's got to go down there and play them at Jordan-Hare too. And that damn stadium, they got something buried underneath that ground.
That's a curse. That is a curse ground is what that is. And Georgia fans know it too.
Yeah, yep. It is, man. They got some voodoo. Yeah. I mean,
2013, 2017, 2019 for Bama. I mean, can't catch a break. We caught a break in 2021, but I mean, we almost lost that game in regulation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And against the 2021 Auburn team, Bryce Young should not have been in that position.
No way. No.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze is a good pick, man. I'm telling you, if Auburn can get him, I think they can get him a quarterback. I mean, they got a lot of NIL deals, going on. I mean,
they got him a quarterback.
All about if they let him.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we didn't talk about. We talk about the same thing, about Georgia beating Tennessee and all this. Georgia played Ole Miss this year in Athens, and the last time we played Ole Miss, they beat the brakes out of us in Oxford in 2016 in Kirby Smart's first year. So we're going to have to see what Ole Miss can do versus Georgia.
Jack, I'll tell you this: they got a 3-way quarterback race, and I guarantee I'm not too high on Walker Howard. But they got Spencer Sanders and Jackson Dart. Either one of those guys could be dangerous for that offense.
Yeah, how many points they score in their spring game? 50 points.
It was something like that total, I think, or on both teams.
Well, that was with Jackson Dart. He was on the starting team. So you got 50 points. So say they say they can score that against every team. Somebody's going to have a defense to stop that. Somebody's got to stop it. If you're not, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
Well, so realistically speaking, how good do you think Pete Golden can get Ole Miss's defense going? Can they be the land sharks again on defense? Can we see some land sharks?
You don't need no defense. You don't need no defense to score 60 points a game. You don't need no defense.
That man asked us how good Pete Golden's going to be.
He won't need one. He won't need one.
That was a joke, honestly. But I seriously would like to have y'all's opinion because is Pete Golden really that bad? I mean, I want to think he's not.
He is.
I'll say this. For the standard of the SEC and probably even the Power 5, he's not good. I'm sure he could do good at a Pee-wee or high school or Division II level. Maybe he could be good there, but you gotta have you need real defense. I'm talking real defense when it comes to the SEC. Pete Golden's not the answer.
Okay, Ballard. Here's the thing: what if Pete Golden is in a bad situation this year, where they score 50, 60 points, but they couldn't even stop Eastern Tennessee? What if the talent, because the talent, let's just be honest with ourselves, are not going to be like Alabama's defense, right? What if, because those talents are not there, what if they're good enough to make Pete Golden to be like, I don't know, okay defense, but with him not having it at Ole Miss, what if they're just ferocious, they're bad, they're terrible?
I don't know. Look at.
You think they could be that way?
It could be. Well, I think time will tell, and we'll have to really dive in and get a good look at what Ole Miss does defensively.
I mean, go back to the 2020 year with Alabama. Look at all the points Mac Jones and then Jalen Waddle was hurt all year long. What would have happened if Jalen Waddle hadn't have been hurt with Smitty? Alabama was scoring when somebody gave the ball up on a punt or a turnover on downs on a punt or a kickoff. Alabama was scoring on the third or fourth play every time they would up on offense. I mean,
yep. We wouldn't have beat y'all. I don't think we would have. You know, that game, whoo.
I mean, that reminds me of Ole Miss. If Ole Miss could do that like Alabama done it in 2020, damn, it's hard to beat a team if you can do that all year long. It's hard. You're gonna get it. It's just hard to do. It's hard to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think Alabama had a 6-possession or a 7-possession game, maybe a few drives in 2020, but like I said, they were scoring in all, and Georgia done it last year and the last couple of years too, even with Stetson Bennett. I mean, it's hard to beat a team like that, man. It's hard to beat a team like that. It's just it's a dog fight, man. It's whoever makes the first mistake loses. That's usually what happens in a game like that. Whoever makes the worst mistake loses. First mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so going back to the running clock, you know, if you don't have a defense, you're not going to be able to come back, let's say, second half. You know, let's say you can't stop them in the first half and they score, 30 points on you, and let's say it's 30-7. I don't know if you're going to have enough possessions in the second half to come back from that, you know, especially if another team is even scoring field goals or maybe another field goal or two. I don't know if you will have enough time.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. They're just trying to hurry the game up. Everybody's complaining. Why does a college football game take 3 or 4 hours to play? And I mean, you know, it sort of gets drug out. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, see, my argument with that is don't watch it. Like, I'm not being whatever when I say that, but like, you know, if we want to spend $200-$300 on a ticket, and you know how pricey these tickets can get, and we want to watch a 4.5, 5 hour, you know, game, I know that may be a little ridiculous, but I don't see them stopping Major League Baseball. Why are they trying to screw with our game? If that's what we want to watch, let us watch it. The way I look at it.
It's got to boil down to money. It's money. It boils down. It's like TCU and Georgia last year. They lost a little money and they complained about it. And like I said, that'll keep TCU. I mean, I don't know. It's money too. Money's got a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, it's all about money, man. That's what it all is. You know, it's about trying to squeeze in more games, and you know, like for example, if they could put UNLV on, I don't know, an extra game on late at night. Let's say it's UNLV versus Tulsa, for example. Then, you know, that's what ESPN is going to do. And that's what it's all about. It's all about money, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I don't blame, like, to an extent, I get it. I know that they, you know, ESPN's got to make a profit and they got to do what they got to do to keep the business alive. But, I mean, they got to think about us college football fans. Like, how many times does Georgia or Alabama play this FCS opponent? Now, I don't turn it off. But if it's like 45-0 at halftime, aren't you going to change the channel?
Right.
It's
over.
I
mean, I agree. Right. Yeah. I mean, I could understand if they put somebody else on, you know, I don't know.
That's why they have that late game with the out west game. Well, they're 2 hours behind us anyway, so it's money. It's all it is. The game it's just you know, it's get ratings. It's all ratings too. Ratings.
Yep. So Paul Tyson went to Clemson. I heard y'all saying that as I was coming on.
Yeah, he's at Clemson now, and he's got to be third string because they got Cade Klubnik, and then they got this other 4 or 5 star guy. I can't think of his name, but yeah, he's at Clemson.
That's surprising that Paul Tyson. I mean, not knocking, because Cade Klubnik, we all know he's going to be the starter. I don't know. That's kind of crazy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What if Paul
I
Tyson?
think for Paul Tyson, I think at this point he just wants to keep learning, and he'll find his place eventually. It might take a while, but I think he belongs somewhere. I don't know what happened at Arizona State that he left, but
with Herm Edwards probably and all that bull crap. But think about it. If he only would have stayed at Alabama, he would have been the starter, number 17.
Yeah.
Think about it, man. Y'all would have had Paul Tyson.
Man, he was a beast. He was a beast in high school. I watched him play at Hewitt-Trussville. I mean, he
looked good when he played for us in the spring games too.
I mean, he was a man playing with kids in high school. I hate to say it, but I mean that he was.
Yeah, he was good. Heck, I think I was saying something about a year or so ago on your channel, Ballard, about him coming to Georgia. You remember that?
Yes.
And we kind of like laughed. Hey, he ain't never coming to Georgia, like that.
He's not going to transfer.
Yeah, and I'll be dead gum if he did to Arizona State. Now here he is at Clemson. That's weird. So crazy.
I couldn't believe it. Coach Bryant, his grandfather, he had he got a full scholarship. Just because of his name, that's all he had to do is come to Alabama. But he left. It surprised me he left, though.
Did y'all hear about that? I want to say it was an Indiana football player. He lost his scholarship, and I'm sure he's kicked off the team. He basically pushed his at the time, I think they were dating, or it might have been an ex-girlfriend, pushed her down a set of stairs at his apartment and sexual assaulted her. Did you hear about that?
No.
I saw this on News Nation. Just scrolling through. I'm subscribed to them on YouTube, and anyway, I was just scrolling through earlier, kind of seeing what was going on in crime world or whatever, and saw it was an Indiana football player, and I was kind of shocked that actually happened. But I guess it happens everywhere,
Yes.
Sucks to lose your scholarship. And I think I saw in one of the videos they said that he actually pleaded guilty for it.
It's like the Alabama baseball coach, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like what's going on with that? Like I was shocked that happened.
Hell, they give you everywhere you can go now. You can there's sports betting, and they think these players and coach, they're human beings just like we are. What who steps up? Who has given somebody the authority to tell me if I'm the coach? You can bet, but I can't bet because I'm a coach. Who says you can't do that?
So what did he do? Like just bet on some games, or like what all happened?
No. So what happened? It was Coach. I got it right here. This is from Mike Rodak. The University of Alabama's baseball program has been reeling this week after multiple states halted betting on its games, and just days later, the head coach was fired. Sportsbook surveillance video indicates the person who placed suspicious bets on an Alabama LSU baseball game was communicating with the Alabama baseball coach, Brad Bohannon, at the time. So Coach Bohannon, he didn't place bets, but he was in on it and in communication with the person that was, and I guess that's a big no-no.
Oh, that's so stupid. Get out of here. Really? The dude's
I think he's stupid
dad,
too.
A human.
It's like insider trade. It's like insider trading on Wall Street. If somebody come on, man. If somebody calls me and gives me a say, Waylon, I know put $250,000 on this. What am I gonna do, man?
Right.
Yeah, so if I was Greg Burns, y'all's AD, I think that's y'all's AD's name. Anyway, whatever. If he, what would have happened if you would have fired him? What? I don't see what's so wrong about what he did.
He did fire him.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, what if he didn't fire him?
Who says the man can't bet? It's who says somebody, well, it was shady because it's sort of like maybe somebody might say, well, this starting pitcher. I don't know how they were looking at it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I can't understand. Like, what did the guy do wrong? Like, I don't care what uniform or university he's at. Like, what did he do?
Insider trading, man. It's illegal. Can't do it.
Yeah, I guess if Greg Burns didn't fire him, the AD, then I guess he would have been fired.
Man, they're all over him anyway. They're all over him because of that derailment into basketball. That young lady that got shot. I mean, he's been in the hot seat. Burn has made some bad decisions, and he had to jump on this quick because he didn't want to press up his butt. That's what he didn't want.
Yeah. So, but even, going back to the basketball player there, like, what does that have to do with Greg Burns? I mean, honestly.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get
it. It really doesn't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, I know what happened. Yeah, I mean, I know what happened, but I'm just making a point where, like, okay, Greg Burns has a head coach. The head coach, I'm sure, looked at it like Saban or any, even though it's basketball. It doesn't matter. Different sport. And, I mean, like, what could have Greg Burns done differently?
He couldn't have done nothing different. I mean, that player should have, when that other player called that other player and told him, bring me my joint, that's what they call a gun. A joint, I'd have told him, I'll see you later, Jack.
Yeah.
I'd have hung the phone up. That would have solved the whole problem. Nobody would have been hurt. All this garbage wouldn't have happened. Those boys they knew better than that shit.
Yeah.
I don't care what they say. It didn't look good. It was just, it didn't look good.
Well, what did the coach do? Did he suspend? He kicked him off the team, correct?
Well, he didn't have
Darius Miles. Was it Darius Miles that had the gun and did the shooting? I think that's what his name was. Yeah. NATO suspended him. And of course, you bring Brandon Miller into the whole deal,
right?
Who apparently got the gun and transported it,
right?
And I mean, there was a part of me that felt a little bad for Brandon Miller when he was getting all the backlash.
I don't know, man. I would have told him once again, not interrupting you, I'm not bringing you anything.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. I mean, I would have said the same thing. Like, dude, I don't want to get involved in this ordeal. And I just, if I were in Brandon Miller's shoes at that moment in time, I would have just backed away, ran home, forget all about it. Don't get involved.
I mean, it's a simple decision, a yes and no sometimes, and we've all made mistakes. I'm an old man now. I made mistakes when I was young too, but I didn't make mistakes like that. I'm not knocking it. It didn't. Somebody's life wasn't taken. I mean, you can't make decisions like that, man. That's crucial. That's unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened. I mean, I know what happened, but like, what ended up happening? I mean, is he found guilty and all that? What was the result?
He would just tell him, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was trying to figure out what he said. Something about the result.
Well,
like what did he? He's in jail, ain't he? Like I can't remember. Like I know the story, but like what all happened? Like at the very end.
Brandon Miller just took him the weapon, and after he took him the weapon, when he left, there were shots fired inside the car, and the girl came up, shot, killed, and he's still in jail, I guess. I figure he's out on bond. I don't think he's still in jail, but that's the bottom line. That's what happened.
Yeah, right. I knew about the incident, what all took place, but I thought that's what happened. He was still in jail, or got out, whatever.
So I'm just now seeing this. There's been some news actually about it. There was a month ago, CNN put out a report that he pleaded not guilty to the murder. There was something put out 7 days ago, last week, what his murder charges were, what we know about the arrest. This is from Sporting News. I'd have to read into it, but let me see here. He was charged.
Yeah. He was
So
Yeah, I figured he
21
would.
years old with murder charge, capital murder.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
you see what happened to Jalen Carter just being. You see how it knocked him in the draft.
Yeah, but I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. He got lucky. I think there was a lot of deals that happened behind the scenes. I'm just gonna call it the way I see it. He got extremely lucky.
Yeah, I guess he did get what he got picked. He got the number 9th pick, I think. What, number 9?
Well, the thing is, though, the 911 call don't lie. People try to say it does. If Jalen Carter was put at the scene, he left the crime scene. He left a crime scene.
Yeah,
If me and you left a crime scene, dude, they would throw us in the hammer.
I don't know, man. This NFL football has got just so much going on. I mean, they look at that stuff now. It's like Chris said a couple of weeks ago. It's like a job resume. When they look at your job resume and something's on it like that, I guess they don't like it anymore. Right? It's a business now. It's all business. It's all business.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen, he's a good football player. There's no disputing that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, Todd Mache, he took a lot of hits about, character-wise, and I actually was trying to argue that, but I guess at the end of the day, he was like a smart guy, talking about Todd Mache. So, yeah. I don't know. He better clear that up because the NFL ain't going to put up with all that crap.
Look what they done to Michael Vick for fighting dogs.
Yep.
And truly, I mean, it's a brutal thing. I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. And I went to many a chicken fight, and the chickens are born game. They're born to fight. You turn them loose in the yard, they're gonna fight. But anyway, who in the NFL says what's it any of their damn business really anyway?
Mm-hmm.
What you do in your life outside the NFL,
right?
So I mean,
yeah. I see that. I see that side, that point of view for sure.
I mean, it's they want to get in everybody's business. Can't make their own business sometimes.
There was an Alabama guy, wasn't it? Oh gosh, what was his name? He was a big heavyset dude. That did like some dog fighting. He played with the Baltimore Ravens. If I can only think of his name, the guy's huge. You remember he came in, he played a couple of times running back and just squashed some people.
You talking about Mount Cody?
Yes, Mount Cody. I think that he got in some trouble about that.
Terrence Cody. Yeah. Terrence Cody. I remember him.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
he was a beast. Yeah, he went to the Ravens, and if I'm not mistaken, he got in trouble about doing something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't care what university you come from or whatever. I don't like that. I don't stand for it. But everybody's got their opinions, and I don't know. It's just it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. And then they busted. They busted some guys for chicken fighting too a couple of years ago. I mean, gee whiz. I mean, are you? I mean, I can't remember who it was. I'll think of one. I don't want to think of, but I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So I'm sure you've talked about it, Ballard, but Colorado, they got all these transfers and stuff, and of course everybody knows about it by now, I'm sure. So Deion Sanders does realize that he can't lose 51 people, which mostly are 3 stars, if not under, to realize he can't be at Alabama, Georgia, or Ohio State, or even a Clemson, like he says, if you have 51 transfers out. He does realize that, don't he?
I think he has to realize that. I mean,
but you got to start somewhere. Like, Colorado, I mean, Noah's Ark wasn't built under one night, right? Colorado has been a dumpster fire, arguably. I mean, I know they might have had like a year or two good, but arguably since early 2000s, if not below that. So, it's been 22 years, you could say, because we had 22 football seasons. And Colorado has been a dumpster fire more, most of the time, if all the time. He's not going to win and be like, hey, I'm Georgia, I'm Alabama. I mean, the reason why we're good, finally it seems like, y'all been great all these years because you have the talent, the 5 stars, whatever. Colorado, they'd be lucky if they have 1 or 2 5 stars. I mean, that's one thing that he's got to understand. I mean, heck, Christopher Smith, Chris Smith, number 29 for Georgia, was a 3-star, and he just got rid of 51 of them. So, it's about developing, but you also, the 4 or 5 stars, they do speak volumes, but you got to get out there, you got to put in the work. And, he won't release the videos, the practice tapes or whatever on some of these guys, but then he calls some of these people and be like, oh, I wish y'all nothing but the best, and trying to help them out like he's their buddy. But then, he's telling them, basically they either need a transfer or whatever, or holding their practice tape. To me, I think Deion is a good football player. I question his coaching because I think his coaching abilities are not that great I think they're overrated because he didn't even win at Jackson State last year. And what rubbed me wrong about Deion Sanders, and maybe I'm just completely wrong, but what rubbed me wrong the very first day that he got to Colorado down in Boulder was to tell those players he transferred when the dude's never been there to see a practice. The guy's he doesn't know the reason. Maybe Carl Darnell is the worstest coach ever in college football. He doesn't know, maybe it was strength and conditioning coach, the reason why all those kids wasn't trying. We don't know, but the guy's never really done more than step in a building and have a little press conference. That's what rubbed me wrong about Deion Sanders. Maybe he is a good coach. I don't know.
Deion left because first thing, they showed him the bag full of money. I don't care what these coaches say. If somebody offers me 60, 70, 80, $90 million, my first decision is going to be, I'm going to be looking at that money. And my second decision is, well, when I get out there, I'll do the damn best I can. And if it don't work, may the chips fall wherever they may.
Just like Kirby Smart, everybody said Brian Kelly wasn't going to leave Notre Dame. It's his dream job, right? He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. And, he talked and joked about waving a wand. But you know what? That wand was waved, and look where he's at now. Money talk.
Yeah, he left him the money.
That's what we talked about. We talked about that quite a bit. And I think even Waylon and I, we were talking about Dabo Swinney last week, and we were saying if Bama throws him the right amount of money, he'll come to Alabama.
Yeah, he will. Yeah. Because that program is set up. I mean, Alabama has had some lapse years, and I've been watching. I was born in '61, so I've been watching Alabama football a long time. And those years are few and far between. That program was just set up from success. It's always been successful. And that's why a lot of people don't like it. And I'm not going to say it's better than Georgia. I'm not going to go around here and say it's better than all these other colleges. But I don't know. If the shoe fits, you have to wear it sometimes. I mean, Alabama just – I don't know. They just – I don't know how to say it. They just been lucky.
Alabama's always been good. If you find the real Georgia fans, they'll tell you, Georgia just is great. Let me tell you, we were really bad before Mark Richt. I don't know if Kirby would be this successful. Maybe he would have if it wasn't for what Mark Richt did at Georgia. So, Alabama's been good pretty much even with Mike Shula and the worst of the worst that y'all claim. Alabama's always been good. Always had quarterbacks and everything. So, anybody would love to come and coach at Alabama. And I don't know. I think if Dabo Swinney was called today, obviously I think Alabama's in a little position of better probably than Clemson. I mean, obviously work would have to be, but obviously I think he would leave Clemson to go to Alabama. Plus he graduated from Alabama, so it would make sense.
That's the thing though. Let me ask you this, because I had asked Waylon last week, if you I don't know if I asked him. I guess I kind of asked him something, but I want to see if you would agree with me. If you had asked Dabo or asked me a few years ago when Clemson was winning championships if he was going to leave for Alabama eventually, I would have thought you were crazy. But today, considering his decline at Clemson, not that it's major, and not to say he can't get another national title there, but I think he's probably in a position where he'd say yes to the Alabama job.
Yeah, I think, and this is no shot to y'all. I agree. I mean, I think that Alabama's a little better. And like I said, when I say little, that's no shot. I think that y'all are, because like I said, even when Alabama's like down, Alabama has really good years. So it goes back to what I was just saying a while ago. But I think absolutely, Dabo would leave. I think there's a good chance now if he was asked.
Do y'all remember who took over after Vince Dooley retired at Georgia? You remember who the head coach was that took Coach Dooley's position?
Boys, it was oh gosh, I can't even think of his name now.
Ray Goff.
Yep, Ray Goff.
And Georgia didn't. He stayed there he was 81, I think 81. I had 81 wins and 46 losses. I mean, a lot of people don't even acknowledge. And then you had Jim. What was Jim's last name? Jim Dunnan.
Yep.
And then you had Mark Richt. Now you got Kirby Smart. I had to stop and think here a minute, but it's
yeah.
Those coaches were not that bad either. I mean it was just Ray Goff won a lot of games. Mark Richt, I don't know how many 10-win seasons did Mark Richt have. He had a bunch of them.
He had a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, Georgia fans, we go from Jim Donham, to like, man, we're not that great. And then we go to Mark Richt and we're like fussing because all we do is win 10 games every year. It's crazy. But, yeah, Mark Richt was a good coach. I think I would have learned, man, I'm telling you, don't get me wrong, I think everybody will agree that Kirby's smart. We would love to have Kirby over Mark Richt. But I'm going to tell you, Mark Richt, I would love to see him at Georgia doing what he was doing with the college football playoff. I'm not saying Georgia would have won it or whatever. I don't know. But I would love to see how Mark Richt would have been at Georgia with the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I really would.
I don't know about the 4-team playoff. Maybe he'd get there once or twice. But we're coming up on the 12-team playoff. Mark Richt would have got y'all in that.
Oh, yeah, every year.
On a consistent basis.
He'd have been there.
I mean, if you win 10 games, easily, that's why I said, people can say I'm biased all they want. I mean, if you're winning 10 games at Georgia, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in that 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
You're going to be there every year. You're not going to be.
Yeah.
Alabama and Georgia, if they win 10, they're going – this next setup, all these people think this is to push Alabama and Georgia out. This is going to put Alabama and Georgia in every damn year. I'm sorry.
Yep, I agree. I thought 2017 was going to be all over again. I'm still shocked that TCU was put in. Regardless of the outcome, I thought Alabama, when TCU lost that last game, I'm telling you, I called about everybody that I knew, and I was like, well, Alabama's back in it. Because, I was like, there's no way they're going to keep y'all out. And somehow they did.
Yeah, we didn't really deserve it. I think we were better than our record showed, but, the committee doesn't look at that.
Right. It's like you do, but you don't. And, you get what I'm saying, because, like, if we only knew the results, yeah, absolutely, Alabama all day. But then you look at TCU's body and work and everything, man, it was so hard to pass down TCU.
I know the result. You would have had Alabama and Georgia playing in the championship game again. That's the result.
Yeah, that's why I said 2017 all over again. I truly believe it. I don't know if we would have won, but I guarantee you SEC would win that national championship game, either Alabama or Georgia.
And they didn't want it for some reason. I don't know why they didn't. Anyway.
And the hardest part, the hardest part about last year was that you could even say Ohio State, and I know it's really hard, like, because Michigan lost to TCU, But let's just say Alabama and Ohio State. The hardest part is to watch Georgia beat TCU the way they did, knowing that y'all could have been so much better. Actually, I know y'all would have been so much better in a national championship game if y'all would have played us. So that's the hardest part, and that's what I feel bad for. It's like, what was it, 2012? I said the same exact thing as a Georgia fan was watching Alabama, play Notre Dame. Because Notre Dame just didn't even show up. And it's like, geez, yeah, we can sit here and say the SEC championship game, was the national championship game, and I probably would agree. But at the end of the day, it just sucks, man, just sitting there watching a game when you know you can play so much better than somebody else.
Yeah, I was at that game in Miami. Brian Kelly hadn't got over that yet. He never will get over that.
No, Alabama scarred him, buddy.
He never will get. I told the gang. I said, "Well, this." I told them this game's over. Well, it was over at halftime. They beat the crap out of them before.
Right as the game started, man, y'all ran over that. What was his name from Notre Dame? The guy with the fake girlfriend.
Manti Te'o.
Oh,
Manti Te'o, yeah.
I still would like to understand why he made up that fake girlfriend. I don't understand it.
Eddie Lacy run through them linebackers like they wasn't even there, man.
Man, let me tell you something. Derrick Henry and Eddie Lacy, I really, as a football fan, man, they were it. To me, they were like the it factors. You see it's Derrick Henry, because Eddie Lacy went to the Green Bay Packers and all that happened with him, which is a shame. But yeah, Derrick Henry, man, he's just killing it up there. Is he still with the Titans, ain't he?
Oh yeah,
Derrick Henry, yeah.
Good gosh, I would not want to face him, man. He's like a bulldozer, dude. He just run trucky.
They was talk he might go the Eagles. I'd love to see him go the Eagles and be on that offense, man, and have all that Georgia defense, that Alabama offense. They won't be. Yeah, they won't be beat, man.
Yeah, they lost like one game last year, didn't they?
Yeah, to Miami. I think they lost the first game was to Miami because I follow them, and then they lost the Super Bowl. One play lost the Super Bowl for him. Fumbling that football, he fumbled that football, and that lost the game.
Tua, man, can stay healthy, dude. I hope he doesn't have to retire, because I know he's been talking about it, have those talks with his family for the first time. And I really hope Tua, man, he's God-given talent, man. He's got to just stay healthy. That's the biggest thing with him. He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Hurts went to Oklahoma. I don't really think it. I guess it helped him in his draft. I don't know. I don't know.
I think Hurts would have been about the same, if not better, as a backup at Alabama. Man, y'all are deadly, man, when y'all had, Hurts was good, but don't get me wrong. But Tua, man, Tua just has that fast pitch. Tua is just special, man. There's just something about him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking a while ago when y'all was talking LSU. And that 2019 LSU team is probably one of the best teams LSU's probably ever had in their history. And they came to Bryant-Denny, and Tua was hopping out there. He was hopping on one wheel, and we nearly beat him on a one-wheel quarterback that night. We didn't win, but they left. I don't care what Ed Orgeron said. He left Bryant-Denny Stadium with his butt cheeks puckered.
Yeah, they got lucky for sure.
I'll guarantee you, he let the air out when he got on the plane, knowing we got out of here with our butts, but just barely with our butts, because Alabama nearly beat them with Tua hurt that night. So it's just I don't know, but anyway, they didn't.
When Tua came in, I think it might have been 2018 or whatever. He was a backup, he was a freshman, whatever. When Tua came in, and people could say it's Vanderbilt all they want to, but I remember y'all played Vanderbilt, and I don't know, when I very first seen it and laid eyes on him, Alabama, of course, was up big. I don't even think they scored on you, but either way, man, and it's just something about him. And I knew when Alabama played us, and we were winning and everything, I told my mom when they put Tua in the second half, I said, "Oh boy, we may be messed up. We may be." I'm telling you, this quarterback is good for Alabama. She was an Alabama fan, and we were watching together, and I mean, of course, she believed in her team and everything. She was like, I don't think he's that good. I go, well, we'll see. I'm telling you, Mom, he's good. And, man, you saw what happened. He blew us away.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up Tua and that national championship game. He kind of took the sack on purpose.
I guess. I mean,
It worked out.
He had told Nick Saban when Nick Saban congratulated him, and he just said, "Don't ever take that sack again." And he looked at Coach Saban. He said, "Coach, I just needed some more room to make the throw."
I guess I don't.
Yeah, well, it worked out. It was perfect timing. It worked out. And I thought we were going to cover it better. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, if you got to go back and look at that play. I mean, Georgia had good coverage on that play.
Well, not on the receiver.
All Tua had to do was move the safety to the middle of the field with the way he looked at the looked off the receiver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were doomed. But let me tell you this though, so going back on that last play, Tua actually got rocked. If you actually go back, we had Devin Bellamy, Lorenzen Carter. I don't know if you remember those guys or not.
Yep.
Man, he got rocked. And when I say he got rocked, see, that's what I'm saying. Tua had that special, just that fast pitch, right? Because it was just enough. Not many quarterbacks, he might have would have took another sack, to be honest with you. I don't know where the ball would have went. But Tua was about the only one that could make that play. So when he got hit, it was just enough, perfect, Bama win. So, like I said, most quarterbacks can't do what Tua does. Tua's a special, man. And that's why, I really hope he can go to more years at Miami, because I know he's like I said, some really good talent.
Yeah. I think when
you don't see a lot of left-handed quarterbacks.
That's true. I was fixing to say, I just think he's still a good talent today, but he's not as good as he once was. And I think that hip injury, man, even though maybe he might say, "Oh, I'm completely healed from it, I'm fine," something like that, man, really affects you the rest of your life, doesn't it? I mean, you got to think.
Well, you can go back. I remember Bo Jackson just about had the same thing, and look how far the medical field has advanced since then. It ended Bo's career, but Tua's still playing.
Right.
So they've come a long way of fixing that. But yeah, it had to affect him some. Yeah, it had to slow him down some. It had to.
Why Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma? I know there's a lot of Alabama fans that I know. They're like, he ain't no Alabama. Like he ain't true to Alabama. They don't like him, and I don't know. There's just a lot of people that does like him. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I will never understand why he went to Oklahoma.
I don't know. Well, they were developing quarterbacks at the time. Look how many Heisman Trophy they had. How many Heisman Trophy winners before him? 2?
Before Bryce?
No, before Jalen went out to Oklahoma. Oklahoma already had 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks.
Yeah, they had Baker and Kyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because Oklahoma's been looking for those 1 or 2 year quarterbacks, and we all knew Tua was going to win the job. He probably knew it too. So he was like, well, let me go to Oklahoma and just wear the crimson and white over there, but be at Oklahoma, and at least we both can play.
Yeah, and see if I can win a Heisman Trophy. Maybe this guy can develop me like he has these other 2 cats.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, do y'all have any remorse against him? Like, do y'all think of him differently? I mean, certainly you wish you would have, stayed at Alabama, but I don't know. Just seeing him with a different uniform.
Nah, it didn't bother me. I wish he would have stayed, but I knew what he was going after. He was looking at having a record-breaking year and possibly winning the Heisman Trophy, and that's he knew he wasn't going to have it at Alabama, so that's the reason he went.
Tua's brother. I don't know. I think is he still at Maryland? I don't even think he's good
Yes.
enough to go pro. Well, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know what all he's doing at Maryland.
He's doing okay. I don't think he's ready for the NFL, but hey, he's putting up some interesting numbers. He's got to be. If he's not in the top 5, he's just barely outside of it for Big Ten quarterbacks.
Yeah, he would up there because of Mike Loxley. Mike Loxley wanted him up there. That's the reason he went.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he coming back for one more year or what?
I don't know.
He's supposed to.
It's all about Mike Loxley. I think he recruited him to come to Bama. At least, sometimes you got to surround yourself, most of the time, like they tell you you're not with coaches because, they come and go. But I think just the recruiting process, the way everything worked, his brother was leaving, Bama at the time. And it makes sense for him to join Loxley up there.
Yeah.
I wish Mike Loxley was back at Alabama.
Yeah, he was a good coach down there. I just can't believe Ed Orgeron going back to him. I can't believe he still won a national championship. I mean, he's the worst coach in Ole Miss history. I mean, you could say that for LSU, but he won a daggum national championship. It's hard to say that.
Yeah. Coach O, I think,
Gene
deserves to
Chiswick.
be somewhere, but I don't know where
Yeah.
it is.
Ed Orgeron's like Coach Gene Chiswick. They both got that national championship, but rest of the years didn't turn out so well for them.
I never understood. As brilliant a guy as Chiswick was, I mean, Chiswick was a defensive genius, supposedly supposed to be.
Carolina's still trying to get it going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not even got it together up there in the ACC. So, I mean, I don't know.
I think those two, I think with Coach O and you mentioned Gene Chiswick of Auburn, formerly, of course, but I think they were a product of the quarterbacks and the talent they had brought in on those championship teams. I mean, you look at Cam Newton, you look at Joey Burrow, and the receiving weapons, the defenses, however you want to look at it. I think they were just part of something special, and that's all it was. I don't think they really had to do much.
No. Cam didn't win
Your thing.
Yeah. Neither one of them never win neither one of them never well, Cam Newton or Joe Burrow, they'll never win a Super Bowl. I doubt they ever win one.
I think Joe Burrow
came close.
But
yeah, he came close.
I think Cam's time is up.
Yeah.
And what was it, 2 years ago it was 2 years ago or was it this past year that Stafford? No, it was 2 years ago. What am I thinking? 2 years ago, when Stafford won it with the Rams because and Joe Burrow, they went to the Super Bowl, didn't they?
Yeah, they beat the Bengals.
Oh. Yeah, that's what I thought because I thought the Bengals was playing because that was the year that Stafford because he got traded from the Lions. And what are the Lions doing? They traded DeAndre Swift to the Eagles now, running back there. I mean, everybody that they're trading their quarterbacks and everybody too, they've done something way better. I don't know what Detroit's doing.
They're not doing too good. I mean,
I think they're trying to slowly sell the team away because they realize how god awful they are.
That's what I can't. I mean, Jamar Gibbs went to Detroit. I'd love to saw Jamar Gibbs go somewhere else because he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like for me, I'm liking it because I did like Swift. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't really follow a lot of them, in the NFL, Georgia players, but if I hear about them, I'm like, hey, that's good, whatever. But for y'all, Jamar Gibbs, he went to Detroit, God bless his soul. So, he'll be making the dough, but I don't know. There won't be a lot of wins. I hate to say it for him.
I tell you, Dabo Swinney was just on the screen live here at the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns basketball game. He was sitting on the sideline with his son there, grinning like a Cheshire cat.
He's got an NBA game. What's he doing at an NBA game? Shouldn't he be out coaching practice?
He was sitting there right beside Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So they probably came up and watched the game. That's what it was. Get back on the plane and head on out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's getting close to 11 o'clock here in Alabama. I'm going to let you guys have some final words, and we'll probably close the stream down. What you guys got?
Thanks for having me on. I didn't mean to talk, and, have your stream. So.
No, man, you're always welcome on here.
I hope it boils down to Alabama and Georgia butt heads again this year, whether the damn playoff committee likes it or not. I hope they play against one another in the SEC, and whoever SEC championship game, whoever loses that, they still get a bid in the top 4 and they play for the national championship.
Yep, I agree. I just hope we're there at the end, want us to do good. I mean, I don't know. Well, I'm not going to be one of these people. It's probably going to end. I'm not going to say I don't have faith in my team, but look, we all know it's going to eventually probably end. Somebody's going to end up beating us, let's just be honest. But I'm going to tell you this in closing. If Georgia somehow does the unremarkable, right, the unthinkable, and they three-peat, this would be – it's been 90 years, and the last team to three-peat was Maryland.
It was Maryland that three-peated?
I believe
it
was Maryland or Minnesota.
No. It was Minnesota. You're right. Minnesota. You're right. It was Minnesota. I did my research on that because I'm afraid that you guys will three-peat and our dynasty is fixing to end.
I don't know. I mean, look, real fast, like I said, realistically speaking, it's probably going in this year. As a fan, I hope it don't. But, it is what it is. But, thanks for having me. It was nice chatting with you. I really do. I had fun. Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, Waylon, it was nice chatting with you, man.
All right, guys. It's been good here on a Friday evening. Maybe Chris, you going to have another live stream Sunday night? You going to do it Sunday night?
Probably do a call-in on Sunday. Yeah, call in, man, if you want to.
All right. I'll catch y'all cats later. It's been good talking to you too, man. Maybe Alabama and Georgia butt heads again. We'll see. Good Lord's willing, we'll be there and watch it again. All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Be safe. I'm out of here. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Sunday, Ballard.
See ya, good boy. Thanks, buddy. All right, we're going to call it a night here, almost 11 o'clock. I'm going to get some rest, probably watch something or whatever. I don't know, but just relax, get some rest. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. Y'all know what to do. Hit that thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, leave a reaction. Let us know how you're feeling. If you ever have any questions, you can email ballardsports19@gmail.com. Or you can message on Twitter @BallardSports. So we're going to get out of here. No outro tonight. Just going to hit end broadcast. And, it's been fun. Jesus loves you. I love you guys. God bless. And from an Alabama fan, roll Tide. We'll see you later on.